Hello dear students, welcome back. Today we are going to take out the last part of chapter number 3 from testing to digesting. So in this last video of this chapter, we are going to take out the last 3 pages. So before starting this video class, dear students, take out your book and keep it in front of you when you go through this video. So let us start from page number 32. Good food, good health. Dr. Aparna has 2 patients, Rasmi and Kailas. Dr. Aparna talked to them to find out more about them. Read what the doctors found. So this Dr. Aparna has 2 patients, one is a girl and one is a boy. They have different type of body disorder. So in order to know what actually happens to these 2 children, this Dr. Aparna talks with them. Let us see what are the things that she found out when she talked with these 2 children. Rasmi, 5 years. So this girl Rasmi is a 5-year-old girl. Let us see what are the problems that she had. She looked about 3 years old. She has very thin arms and legs and a pot belly, a stomach like a balloon. She often felt sick. So this girl Rasmi, even if she is 5 years old also, she looks like a 3-year-old girl. And her legs and arms, they are very thin. Along with this girl have a big belly. So this type of disease is actually because of the lack of proper nutrition. Such type of disease, we call it as a malnutrition disease. So as this girl is not able to get sufficient amount of food, the body of this girl is not able to obtain all the nutrients required by her body. Due to that reason, the growth is not proper. So she is having a thin arm as well as legs. So now let's continue. She felt very tired and cannot go to school regularly. She does not have the strength even to play. So as she doesn't eat proper food or as she doesn't get proper amount of nutrients in her body, she feels weak all the time. Above that, she also used to feel sick regularly. So the food that we eat is not that we get only energy from it. The energy is obtained from a component of the food which is known as carbohydrate. Above this carbohydrate, the food that we eat contains different other type of substances or materials which help in the proper growth of our body as well as also help in fighting the germs that cause different type of diseases. So as this girl is not eating properly and doesn't get all the nutrients required by its body, this girl feels tired all the time, and above that she suffers from different type of diseases. So now let's continue with the book once again. Food. She is lucky if she can get a little rice or one roti to eat in the whole day. So as told before, the problem that this girl is facing is because of the lack of food. Because of the lack of food, all the nutrients that is required by her body is not able to obtain by the body. Because of that reason, she feels weak all the time and suffer from different type of diseases. So this is about this girl Rasmi. Now let's come to the next patient, the boy, which is known as Kailas. Kailas, 7 years. So Kailas is a 7-year-old boy. So now let us see what are the problems that he is facing. He looks older than his age. His body is fat and flappy. He has pain in his leg. He is not very active. He goes to school by bus and spends many hours watching TV. So this boy, Kailas, who is 7 years old only, looks older than his age. Above that, he has a fat body and a flappy structured body. He suffers from pains in the leg. He is not active and he spends most of the time watching television. So this boy, the fat body of this boy may be because of eating too much, more than what his body requires. Because of this reason, extra amount of carbohydrate that gives energy to our body is stored in his body in the form of fats. Due to this reason, his body becomes overweight and suffers from pain in his leg. And as he doesn't do any kind of physical work or physical activity, he is not active, and above that, the extra amount of fats is stored, making his body fat. Now let's see about the type of food that this boy eats. Foods. He doesn't like to eat home-cooked food like dal, rice, vegetables and roti. The only things he finds tasty are chips, burger, pizza and soft drinks from the market. So this boy Kailash doesn't want to eat the food that is prepared in his home. In his food, he doesn't include the green leafy vegetables and fruits. He likes to eat all those items, all those food items that are brought from the market, which are not good for our health and contains lots of oil in it. Because of this reason, such type of food we call it as a junk food. So as this boy Kailash is eating those type of junk food and he doesn't eat those nutritious food items that is made in the home, he is suffering from overweight and his body becomes fat. Such type of malnutrition disease we call it as obesity. So this boy Kailash is suffering from obesity. So these two patients of this Dr. Aparna, that are Resmi and Kailash, they both are suffering from malnutrition disease. But the type of malnutrition disease these two are suffering are entirely different. Resmi is suffering from a disease which is caused because of the lack of nutritious food or because of not getting proper food to eat in a day. While that of the boy Kailash is suffering from a disease which is known as obesity, and that is caused because of overeating. So these two patients, they are suffering from two different types of diseases. Now let's continue with the book. Dr. Aparna measures the height and weight of both the children. Then she told them there is only one treatment for both your problems, that is proper food. So the malnutrition diseases that these two patients are suffering, this can be cured by eating proper food. When we say proper food, they are the type of food which contain all the nutrients that are required by our body in the proper amount. These nutrients, they are very important to our body. So it is not that we have to depend upon only one type of nutrients. All the nutrients that are present in the food, they have their own functions, and all of these nutrients help our body to grow properly, to get sufficient amount of energy, as well as to fight against the disease-causing microorganisms or pathogens. So these are the things from this page. Now let's come to the next page. In the next page, some questions are given. Let us go through these questions one by one and let us try to find out the answer of these questions. So the first question is, why do you think Resmi could eat only one roti in the whole day? So just now we had discussed about this girl Resmi. So from this story and the details about this girl Resmi, we came to know that this girl is eating one roti a day only. So this may be because Resmi belongs to a poor family which doesn't have sufficient amount of money to buy food. Now let's come to the next question. Do you think Kailash would like games and sport? So games and sport, they need physical activity. This boy Kailash is overweight. His body is fat and all the time he feels lazy. He is not active. So from this we come to know that Kailash doesn't like to play sports and games. So now let's come to the next question. What do you understand by proper food? So as told before, proper food are the types of food which contain all the nutrients required by our body. It is not that a single type of food contains all the nutrients that is needed by our body. Because of that, when we say proper food, it includes different types of food items which will provide the nutrients to our body. Now let's come to the next question. Why do you think that the food of Resmi and Kailash was not proper? So just now I told that proper food are the type of food which contain all the nutrients that is needed by our body. In case of Resmi find hard to get the meals of a day. So in case of her, if she get one roti a day, she feels happy. So in a roti, presence of carbohydrate only, the other nutrients are not present. So as Resmi gets only carbohydrate and the other nutrients are not present in her food, we say that her food is not proper food. In case of the Kailash wants to eat the junk food items which doesn't contain the other nutrients that is needed by his body. Because of this reason, we said that the food of Resmi and Kailash is not a proper food. So let's come to the next section. find out. Talk with your grandparents and elderly people and find out what they ate and what work they did when they were of your age. The elderly people, in the older time, the people used to eat different type of food items, especially the one that is grown in their home. In case of the vegetables or in case of any food items also, they consume the food items which are organic. That means that the food items that are grown without using any chemical substance. Nowadays, different type of chemical substances are used to grow different type of fruits as well as vegetables. Some of the chemical substances that are used nowadays for growing crops and vegetables are fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides, etc. But in the early time, this type of chemical substances were not used for growing the food items or for growing the vegetables. Because of this reason, the people of the early time, they get sufficient amount of nutrients. About that, they do physical work. Because of that reason, the elderly people, they have a healthy body. But the people of this era, this present era, consumes many type of food items which are harmful to us, and that doesn't contain all the nutrients that are required by our body. The present day people doesn't do much physical work. Because of this reason, people of the present day suffer from different type of diseases. Now let's see some of the questions that is given in that section. Now think about yourself, your daily activities and daily diet. So this is a question that you have to attempt yourself. In this question, you have to find out what are the things that you do in a day and what are the types of food that you eat in a day. Are these similar or different from what your grandparents did and ate? So after attempting the first question, you have to compare with the food items that your grandparents eat as well as what are the other activities that they do with the activities and the food that you eat in a day. Now, let's come to the next topic. Proper food. Every child's right. You have read about two children. One is Kailash, who does not like homemade food. The other one is Rashmi, who does not even get one proper meal a day. So just now we discussed about two children. One is Rashmi and another one is Kailash. Rashmi doesn't get proper amount of food to eat in a day, while Kailash get plenty amount of food which are nutritious but still prefer to eat the junk food which are brought from the market. About half the children in our country are like Rashmi. This means that in India, there are many children who doesn't get proper meal in a day, like that of the Rashmi. It is because they belong to the poor family and doesn't have sufficient amount of money to buy or to afford good food. Due to that reason, they eat only one meal. They are satisfied with that as they doesn't have money. They are not able to buy more amount of food and eat in a day. They do not get enough food that they need to grow and develop properly. These children are weak and sickly, often ill, in poor health. But it is the right of every children to get proper food. So as they belong to a poor family and doesn't get proper amount of food, they are not able to get all the nutrients that are required by their body. Due to that reason, most of the time they feel weak and they suffer from different type of diseases. Even if they belong to a poor family, it is the right of every children to get proper food. But it is very unlucky that they are not able to get proper food to eat. Now, let's come to the next page. This is the last page of this chapter, and in this page, we are going to read about a story of a woman belonging to the state of Odisha. So now, let us continue with this page. Read about this story in Kalahandi district in Odisha. So the woman in this story belongs to a district known as Kalahandi in Odisha. So let's continue with the story. Gomti is 30 years old. Gomti works in the fields of a rich farmer. So the name of this woman is known as Gomti, and she belonged to a poor family because of which she worked in the field of a rich farmer. So let's continue. For all her hard work, she gets paid very little. So little that she cannot even buy enough rice to feed her family. Some months she does not get any work at all. Then she has to eat leaves and root from the jungle. See the life of this woman. She belongs to a poor family. Because of that, she works in the field of a rich farmer. And for her hard work, she gets a small amount of money as the salary. And for many months, she even does not get any work, because of which she does not have money to buy food. During that time, she depends upon the leaves and the roots of certain plants that are grown in the jungle. See how lucky we are. We are able to get proper food to eat in a day. But there are many families in this world who doesn't get proper amount of food to eat to survive. So because of this reason, they even depends upon whatever things that they get on which they can feed upon. Now let's continue with the story again. Gomti's children are weak with hunger and always sick. Few years ago, her husband died of hunger. So as Gomti gets paid a small amount for her hard work, she doesn't have sufficient amount of money to buy sufficient food for her family. Because of this reason, her children always feels weak and used to suffer from different type of diseases. And above that, in this hard situation, her husband even died because of hunger. Now, let's come to the last paragraph of this story. Most rice grows in Kalahandi district. Rice is even sent to other states from here. Many times, the rice that kept lying in the godowns gets spoiled. In the same Kalahandi, there are many poor peoples like Gomti. Why do people die of hunger in such a place? See, this district Kalahandi of Odisha is one of the places in India where the rice is produced in a large amount. Even if it is produced in a large amount, the people living in that area, they are not able to get proper amount of food. Most of the rice that is produced in this Kalahandi district, they are even exported to other states. They are even sent to other states. But in this same Kalahandi district, there are many poor people who are not able to afford or buy those rice to feed their family. There are many people, there are many families in India, they are not able to get proper meal a day. Even if they belong to a place where sufficient amount of rice or food or vegetables are produced. So among those people, one is this woman, Gomti. So this is about her story. Now let us see what are the questions that are given in this page. So let's come to the section, think and discuss. Do you know any child who does not get enough to eat in the whole day? What are the reasons for this? So in your locality also, if you find any child who doesn't get sufficient amount of food or proper food a day, then talk with that child and find out what is the reason behind that. Mainly, the reason behind not getting proper food is the poverty of that family. That means that the child belongs to a poor family. Now let's come to the next question. Have you ever seen a godown where a lot of grain has been stored? Where? In every state, in every district or in every place, the government has set up a particular area which we call it as a godown, where different type of food grains are being stored. These food grains are to be distributed to every people living in that district at a low price. But unfortunately, these grains are not able to be distributed to the poor families. So this is very unfortunate, because those grains are meant for the poor families, and if they are not being distributed to these poor families, obviously there will be many people still that will be coming out, and the number of poor families increase who dies of hunger. Now let's come to the next and the last section of this chapter, what we have learned. Why can you not taste food properly when you have cold? So we had discussed once that when our nose are closed, we will not be able to feel the taste of the food properly. It is because the sense of smell helps the taste buds that are present on our tongue to detect the taste of the food. So when we suffer from cold, our nose are blocked, because of which the sense of smell of our body will reduce. So as the sense of smell of our body reduces, we will not be able to feel the taste of the food properly. Now let's come to the last question of this chapter. If we were to say that digestion begins in the mouth, how would you explain this? Right. So when we were discussing about the digestive system, we discussed that the food, when it is consumed in our mouth, it is broken down by the help of the teeth into small particles. After that, it is mixed with the saliva, which contains an enzyme that digests the carbohydrate present in the food. So as the carbohydrate is digested in the mouth, we can say that the digestion process of the food starts in the mouth. So these are the things that we discussed in this chapter. So with this, we come to the end of this chapter. And in the next class, we will take up a new chapter. So for today, let us wind up here, dear students. Thank you.